Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation here. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can kind of see we got a little PowerPoint here to go over and hopefully you can see my screen. So today, again, we kind of want to just kind of go over New Year's resolutions, NYR, because that's the big topic that we're all kind of facing right now. So um, got your presentation up here.
Oh, good.
Get in, get in the screen there a little bit. Turn that way. All right. So we got Carmel on and I just started, so
Oh, good. Sorry I'm late, as always.
I can run this.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Uh,
Did you figure out what NYR means?
yeah,
Good.
okay, there we go. Okay.
Good. So we can do this a couple ways. We can just talk about it. The slides are there for people to see, or we can just run through the slides and do it, whatever. Obviously, we're running a little late, so this was just thrown together. This is an old lecture, actually, with the newer statistics and a couple new slides in it.
Yeah.
But have you ever done a New Year's resolution?
Oh, yeah.
I have.
No,
Because I know they don't work.
right.
So
Yeah.
but they can work. That's the point of this thing. No matter whether you're doing it now at the first of the year or you're doing it mid-June. If you decide to do something different in your life, this is how you can make it stick, is what we're going to cover here.
Yeah.
Baylor College of Medicine reported this statistic here: 90% of people fail by the end of January, and then the 10% that stick with it, 90% of those people fail by the end of February, 1st of March. So they just don't work.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of reasons for that, which we can cover if we want, but let's move on to the next slide.
I think too, we all have good intentions, right? Like we think, oh, I know I should eat healthier and I should exercise more and I should be better with my relationships and, I should, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to action and
Right.
actually doing it. So, yeah,
Okay, right. Yeah, the world is not run by intentions.
yeah,
So one of the first things to do is I think people make their resolutions too broad, too big. I'm going to lose weight this year.
mhm,
What, 100 pounds, 200 pounds? You can take the full year. You're going to
A
do it in a
pound?
month? A pound? Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So I would say you need to keep them very short, specific, and the time frame needs to be limited.
mhm,
Don't go for it. If you can, just what it says here, my New Year's resolutions to avoid sugar drinks for 3 weeks. At the end of those 3 weeks, you're not going to want a sugary drink. You've now gone past the addictive side of things, and you know you can do it.
mhm.
So that at that point, do it another 3 weeks or go to 6 weeks at that point. But small, specific goals in a short time frame, that's one of the ways to get it to work.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's SMART goals, right?
Yeah,
The
smart goals.
SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and then timetable, right? Time.
Right.
So yeah, you're being specific, you're giving yourself a timetable, you're giving yourself a goal that actually matters to you, right? If it's not really something you care about, then you're not likely to follow through with it.
Exactly.
I think too, it might be helpful to give yourself like, okay, yeah, say your goal is, or your New Year's resolution is to avoid sugary drinks for 3 weeks. Say at the end of that 3 weeks, maybe you give yourself a reward.
A sugary drink?
Yeah, right.
No.
Some sort of incentive, to say, okay, I made it to that point. Now let's, and it might be good too to do a little assessment, self-assessment, and say, okay, before I started this, how did I feel? How do I feel now since I've done it? And that kind of could help you keep you motivated and say, oh, I see progress here. I feel better. I'm not feeling inflamed and sluggish and just yucky. And so, yeah, good.
Yep, absolutely. Go to the next one. Limit your resolutions, another one. I've just had a patient this morning who told me her New Year's resolutions, and she listed about 10 of them. Yeah, they were all in the field of health, but we have this very talk. Just choose one of those, maybe two. And if you choose two of them, make sure they correspond. Like the example I'm using here, if you're gonna change your eating in any way, shape, or form, maybe add a little movement to it. And just simple like that. Don't say I'm going to go on a 800 calorie diet for 6 months. Or I'm gonna totally cut all my favorite foods out completely. You ain't gonna last. You're
Yeah,
gonna be a failure, a statistical failure. You're joining a gym is another example. Don't join a gym right away. Spend all your money. Start moving. Go for a 10-minute walk after dinner. Start little like that. That's the way that these things stick.
yeah.
Because people do feel better. People don't realize, I talk about in a couple of my books, that if your baseline's here and you change a couple small things and now you raise your baseline to here, you had no idea that difference because your baseline's been down here. Now that you've changed it, your baseline's up here, you're, wow, I want to keep going.
Mhm.
And that's why these small little limited resolutions work.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if you, like you said, if you give yourself 10 different things that you're gonna do, you're gonna get burned out pretty quick and you're just gonna give up on all of them.
Yep.
So think about two, maybe two, and I like the idea of pairing those two habits, maybe, yeah, like you said, eating, drinking less soda and maybe going for a walk after dinner or something,
Yep.
something to pair it. So that it kind of keeps you, they kind of work synergistically, those two habits, and so.
Yeah, and then you just reminded me of another good point. Let's say you have two primary goals. You're gonna change your eating and you're gonna quit smoking. I do not suggest you do that at the same time. Because a lot of people quit smoking by eating more of the crappy food, which is okay for now. Does that make sense?
Sure, one habit.
You gotta be able to balance and they need to be corresponding or synergistic. But changing your eating, starting an exercise program and quitting smoking at once, you are not gonna do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It doesn't work that way.
that's good, yeah, good, all right.
You kind of talked about this, put time into planning, write down your goals, make specific ideas and how you're gonna achieve that. And then important thing to do is note the obstacles that could be in your way. I think I've talked to many people and I've done this too, when I've sat down to write goals. I have all these great goals, but if I don't focus on what could be impeding those goals, I'm gonna find them out sooner or later.
Mhm.
And if I know them up front, I think people do better
Yeah,
obtaining their goals.
yeah, I think, I like the point of writing it down, because a lot of times we just think in our mind, like, oh, I have my goals in my mind. But I think there's power to writing it down, putting it in writing, and almost like it's taking it out of your brain and putting it out
Mhm.
into the universe. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not just thinking it, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Solidifies.
Yeah, so definitely write your goals down. And and I think, yeah, having steps, actionable steps to get that goal, break it down into small steps. And then, yeah, I think it's also great to think about the obstacles, the things that are, because you're gonna face obstacles,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that's life.
Yep.
It's gonna happen, and there's gonna be days when you're just like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. So if you think about those situations ahead of time, then you can kind of go back to, well, I knew this was going to happen, and here's what my plan to kind of overcome that, and so that will kind of help you stay on track too. So.
And guess what your biggest obstacle is? You.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We are our worst enemies.
Mhm.
So
The other thing I like to encourage people to do is don't dive right into a New Year's resolution. Spend a couple weeks preparing for it. And I've given a few examples here. If your New Year's resolution is getting more sleep, well, sit and evaluate the current things that are preventing you from doing it and just stop one of those at a time. Don't shoot for going from 4 hours to 7 hours one night without learning how to not eat before bedtime or get away from screen time an hour before you lay down. Those type of things, little steps to make that final goal something you can do. If it's diet related, weight loss, for example, just pick one or two foods to remove initially. Don't worry about counting your calories, doing that. Walk into these goals slowly with these small steps. And that's really what helps people do it.
Mhm.
Having been this type of health coach, I guess you call me 40 plus years, This approach to it makes it work.
Right.
If there's an addictive thing, be it soda pop, tobacco, alcohol, don't stop cold turkey. You're gonna fail. You hear the stories about the people that stopped cold turkey and they did great. Yeah, there's not many of those.
Yeah. For a limited time, maybe. And
Exactly.
there are the rare cases, but
Rare
most
cases.
of the time, it's gotta be a,
It's gotta be progressive.
process, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I was just working with a alcoholic a few weeks ago and we talked about, okay, don't just stop. You just cut back and plan on cutting back while we're doing we're doing medications and supplements stuff, which we're gonna talk about in a minute here. But that's how he's gonna succeed. And I need to email him tonight and find out how he's doing, just slowly cutting back.
Mhm.
Cold turkey, if you can do it, more power to you, but statistically speaking, we're not very good at that.
Yeah, yeah. Good advice, so. Okay.
I like to call them an accountability buddy. Find someone that can keep you accountable. It's ideal if there's someone with the same New Year's resolutions you have, but if not, try to find someone that's been through it already. Maybe find someone who's lost weight and have them be your accountability buddy. And ask them to be forthright in asking you how you're doing.
Mhm.
Don't wait for them. Ask them to, hey, keep me accountable here. Help me out here. A powerful tool.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we talk about, in our programs is the importance of having a good support system. People that are on your, supporting you through this journey because it is hard. But also using us, our team as your accountability partners as well. Like we're here to kind of help you succeed in this program and help you make these changes and then sustain them for long term, not just, oh, I did the program, now I'm gonna go back to, my old habits. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, being successful, nobody becomes successful without support, I think, without help.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Good, so.
This is one, yes, I'm self-promoting, but I would encourage you to plan to see your doctor if you have New Year's resolutions, even if it's not necessarily health related, and we'll cover that in just a second. So go ahead and go forward. Let me explain that a little more. I just pulled this off the internet today. This is America's top New Year's resolutions for 2025. Save money, get healthier, exercise more, lose weight, spend more time with friends and families, quit smoking, reduce spending, and the majority of people don't want to have a resolution. Maybe just under the majority. But you might say, well, how the heck is my doctor going to help me save more money? Maybe I just don't go to them anymore. No, that's not what I mean. Flip the screen one more time. We have a lot of ways to help. And I gave you a list of these. For example, spending money is a compulsory or obsessive compulsive type disorder in some people. We have medications for that. If it's diet related, we have appetite help with that. If it's sleep related, we have sleep help with that. In other words, utilize what we have and what physicians and PAs and those of us in the medical field have to help you with your New Year's resolutions. That entire list we just saw, one above, every one of those, I could sit and tell you 5 different drugs that may be a benefit for you. Now, that being said, I'm not being a drug pusher. I'm just saying there is help out there that people aren't familiar with, that they wouldn't think of normally. That's not something, have you ever heard of that?
What's that?
Using medication for New Year's resolutions?
No.
See, yeah, it's kind of a paradigm shift, but we do it all the time in our practice.
Yeah.
We just haven't labeled it as, oh, this is a resolution.
True. Yeah.
You need to lose weight, man. Let me give you some phentermine. Right? Or you need to quit doing those obsessive compulsive disorders. Here's some Lexapro.
Mhm.
Right? So changing your mind frame to think I can use these for my New Year's resolutions is something to think about. The next one, resources and referrals. We have access to things that people don't realize. Counseling that your insurance may pay for, visiting with a psychologist or a psychiatrist, referral groups like exercise groups. I mean, I can write a prescription and get a gym membership partially covered by a few of the insurance plans out there. I mean, utilize us in the medical field for these things, tobacco support, whatever anonymous, be it alcohol, opioids, pornography, whatever your New Year's resolutions is, we have the ability to help you with those. Nutritional supplements are another one people don't think about. And people like Wiley and I who do this daily can help you with this. If you don't want to do drugs, you'd rather not see a counselor, you don't want to join AA. Well, let's talk about some supplements we can use. And I just listed out a few of them, just so you know, there are many out there. My personal favorite are what we call the Nervines, the neuroprotective botanicals I have listed below. Those are incredible in changing your brain so you can focus on your goals, your New Year's resolutions, and reach those goals. I just wanted people to realize and throw a new thought out there that those of us in the medical field can help you with this stuff, and we want to.
Yeah, and hopefully, as you being our, our program members, you're aware of how much, this stuff can help, and finding that motivation, and then also having the support, but then also having a plan, I think, is a huge game changer, right, for people, because most of the time they're like, you're just kind of doing it on your own, trying to figure it out as you go. And so being able to utilize experts like us to create these plans and help you take action, for your own health, I think a New Year's resolution, it doesn't have to be just on New Year's, but I think a daily resolution of, okay, what am I going to do to be a little bit healthier today? And utilizing, like you said, utilizing whatever modalities we can, right? Medications, supplements, support groups, whatever's out there to kind of just help us in our journey.
Absolutely. They're available. It's powerful. Something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of sum it up, and I'll let Wiley end it. This is a great time to make changes in your life because it's kind of expected of us, if you will, especially in our country. Just do it the right way. And I think Winston Churchill said it best. He said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to change that counts, and to continue to change that counts. That is what we are emphasizing here. You can do it. We've hopefully given you some really good tools to do just that. And we're always here for more detailed help if you need.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good. And just encouraging people not to beat yourself up and be too hard on yourself if you do fail, or you kind of, you get off track for a little bit, it happens. So the worst thing you can do is beat yourself up and kind of just be super negative about it, and then you just don't come back, you know what I mean? So
I think we as Americans are all or nothing.
yeah.
We say, oh, there's only a few. No, I think all of us are all or nothing. If I blow it, I'm done. And that's actually why I use this quote from Winston Churchill, because I just what you
Yeah,
said.
that's great. That's perfect.
It's the courage to continue, and don't beat yourself up. Just you're gonna screw it up, but we just hopefully gave you some great things to help you.
Yeah, good, awesome, good stuff. So, with that, Carmel, do you have any questions for us?
She's such a great lady. We'll have this, if somebody wants to watch in the future, we'll have it
Yeah,
on.
we'll have it, yeah, we'll post the recording on our YouTube channel, and yeah, definitely, if you have any questions that we can address with the group, then make sure and send us an email. You can even send it to Lindsay at tmc-idaho.com, and we can get those answered during our Zoom meetings, and or otherwise. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome day. We'll see you next week.